Yeah, hey Coach, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hey, David.
Stephen on his radio show this afternoon was asked about your job security, and he said there would absolutely be no change, and he was surprised that the question was even asked. Are you surprised that question is even asked 13 games into your first season?
I mean, frankly, I really am. There's so much that goes into each and every week, and definitely no different than this week. So I think, like all coaches, you keep your nose down and you continue to grind and continue to work. So I mean, I understand how the business works. I understand the job and the responsibility of media to ask questions. So I respect that. And I know you respect the fact that I just stay focused on my job.
Along with that, you were talking yesterday about just the way you played overall and how gratifying it was. Is this a point now where you need to build on that and win a second game back to back to kind of repeat some of the things that you put in place yesterday?
I agree with your outlook there. It's important to stack success. I mean, that's the way you were able to grow as a football team. I thought it was very gratifying to see our young players, particularly the corners, battle through some injury and continue to fight throughout the game. We had some young guys play really well on special teams. So, I mean, there's a lot that went into that game, and I think it's also important that today we're in a virtual format with our players and a chance to identify the things we need to continue to work on and apply it to San Francisco. So this will be a huge challenge. Everybody understands, excuse me, where both teams stand right now, and really that's what we're working on now. And I just want to make sure we take full advantage. This will be the first time we'll be in a normal 7-day week for quite some time, and we really do want to take that next step as a team.
So much was made last week about the mindset and finishing and of this football team. And, again, it's been a tough year and everybody's gone through a lot of stuff. What is the mental focus makeup of this team right now? Do they have a positive outlook of wanting to finish this thing strong, or, there's some teams that want to get to the end of the season?
Oh, no, they definitely want to win. I mean, if you're able to be at practice and just the vibe in the meeting rooms, and this is a hard-working group. I really enjoy working with the players and what we're building in the football ops. So I think we all recognize the amount of time that we have left in this opportunity, and just really want to make the best of these 3 opportunities, and hopefully we'll get to continue to play. So and with that being said, it's a really good energy. I really like the way they practice, and it's consistent that way. And hopefully we'll get some players back this week, and then we'll know more Wednesday. But some things are starting to point up, on the injury front. But yeah, it's just as David's already asked. I think it's important to take that next step and stack success here.
And I know you're focused on the team, but just the fact that Stephen was asked a question, he showed support for you. What are the conversations like with you and Stephen and Jerry Jones? You guys are all on the same page and going in the same direction of where you need to go here?
Oh, definitely. I think both Jerry and Stephen are excellent communicators. We have an opportunity when we do get together, which we recently did, and we talk at length about mostly everything and anything. So I really like the structure that's in place and the way it operates. Obviously Will McClay is right there also. So we have a very healthy dialogue every time we get together.
Mike, you mentioned that it's the 7-day week format for the first time in a while, but can you take us through some of the changes because y'all need to be virtual this week? How does that affect what you're able to do, or did you keep the meetings just in a virtual instead of in-person format?
We're going to be virtual, today and tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow's the player off day, so their responsibility is COVID testing, and if they have any, responsibility in the training room, then they're able to come into the building for that. So, as the coaches, we're in a virtual format, and we'll do our game planning from that, and then come Wednesday, we'll be in a normal structure that we've been pretty much to this point in the year. So we'll move to more of a winter schedule. So we'll cut probably 60 minutes out of our workload throughout the week. It's something I've done every winter with my football teams. This is later than I've normally done it, but I think it's more due to the change in our schedules that we've had.
And no doubt you'll evaluate some of these trends more in depth after the season. When you look at how much lower Zeke's production is this season versus the first 4 in his career, how much do you look at that as a result of what he's capable of doing versus where the offense is with all of its changing parts and lack of continuity?
I mean, really, that goes on weekly, and when you grade the tape, and at the end of the day, we all understand the numbers of what Zeke's done in the past, but there's been a lot of change this year, and I just appreciate the way he goes about his business every day. So I'm not of high concern at all about numbers right now. We're really focused on improving and continue to meet these challenges that are in front of us.
Mike, I hate to bring a numbers question in here but following up on Zeke, the goal to go situation, the last 3 games, it's 5 carries and -2 yards. Do you kind of put that on, or I guess, what do you put that on when you look at how teams have been able to gear up with you guys in those goal to go situations?
Well, I mean, it starts with your game planning, and every time you get together, and it's in process right now. We're actually just getting ready to, meet on the protections and the pressure report for San Francisco, and you look at every situation, and no different down there in the short yards goal line. So when we put together the game plan, we always start with the self scout, and obviously we haven't have done very well there. So you look at the execution of the game plan. You look at your preparation, throughout those segments. You maybe add some some practice opportunities there. Execute your preparation, and the goal is to, obviously, it leads to a good execution Sunday with the players and coaches. So yes, I mean, I think like anything in the game of football, it's you can't just always just put it on one person. So it's a situation, obviously, and as you stated, we haven't been very productive of late.
And you mentioned earlier there might be guys back coming from injury this week. Is Trayvon Diggs one of those guys? Who would be some of the guys you expect back from injury, and how did you come out of the game injury-wise, in particular Xavion Smith with his hand?
Well, Xavion is, I look for him to try to be able to go Wednesday. We'll have more information as it comes in throughout the evening, and especially tomorrow is also a big day for our trainers to work with guys. So hopefully we'll be able to get Trayvon on the field maybe Wednesday. Donovan hopefully on the field Wednesday. But these are all babies, so it's probably better suited for me to answer this on Wednesday. So, but yeah, Xavion, I know he wants to try to go with with the situation with his hand, but until we see him out there, I won't be able to give you a real feel for his availability.
Dalton Schultz eclipsed the 50 reception mark this season, which obviously is a high for him over the course of his career. How have you made of just the way that he's been able to step in the fold since the week 1 injury to Blake?
I'll tell you, I really like the year that Dalton's having. I thought he played very well yesterday. Not only in the passing game, but also in the area, in the run game and protection wise. So obviously very smart, instinctive player. But I think the biggest thing he gives us, Dalton's very consistent. You know, his consistency of play has been really good for us all year. So I thought he had a heck of a day yesterday, and hopefully it continues.
I know this is a bit of a look ahead question, but what do you think from a 12 personnel grouping next year it could be when you have Dalton with the experience that he got this year and Blake returning in terms of the presentation to opponents out of that grouping?
Well, I think you also got to make note of Sean too. I mean, it's definitely a tight end group that's played a lot, and it definitely gives you the versatility you're looking for. So yeah, I think it's obviously next year's a long ways away, but we definitely feel good about our group of tight ends, and especially with Blake coming back. So I'm very, very pleased with that group.
Mike, in that 88-yard touchdown drive yesterday, you converted 4 third downs, and they were quite different in how you went about them. Can you talk about that drive specifically and where you feel you are in your third down conversions as Dalton has had a little bit more time to work back in with this group?
Yeah, I thought, really the first half, I think we were well over 80%, and in that particular drive, I think as we moved along, our normal D&D production was consistent, so it kept us in favorable third downs. So I'm just trying to go back through them, but I thought there was obviously the throw and catch down there tight was a big play, but at the end of the day, I thought Andy, the protection was solid, and Andy did a good job getting the ball out of his hand. So I think really the last 2 games you're seeing some consistency, with us, and then particularly coming from the quarterback position. I think Andy's done a great job keeping us in clean plays, and protection and adjustments, and giving him a solid pocket to throw from, and our perimeter group's obviously doing a hell of a job winning outside, especially when they have the one-on-ones.
I don't want to belabor who's coming back because it's still a couple of days, but it's Awuzia in that group where there's a good chance he can work back into practice on Wednesday from your understanding?
Yes, definitely. I anticipate Chidobe to be back on Wednesday.
Mike, what do you respect most about what Kyle Shanahan has been able to do so far in his career as a head coach?
Well, I think number one, he's, you look at his football team, it definitely is consistent in the way they play, each and every week, but also in every year. Kyle's had some big challenges as far as personnel changes, particularly due to injury, and but his defense, particularly plays the same each and every week. Obviously his offense is always played at a high level. So when you put the 49er tape on, it's a talented group. Obviously they have a lot of change due to the injury this year, but you definitely see their play style is very consistent.
And you mentioned that there could be some improvement for Trayvon and Cheeto being able to come back. How do you go about balancing, and not specifically who will play, but trying to continue to build off the opportunities young players got this week with understanding that some of your starters could be coming back?
Well, you just work the different combinations of the personnel groups, and then when you get to the end of the week, you like to do it sooner than later. Projecting on how much each player will play, and obviously the course of a football game, things do change. Particularly how the opponent's going to play on offense, and so forth. But we'll try to get all those guys ready, especially the guys that are banged up a little bit in this last game, and that's what really we'll see what Wednesday and Thursday gives us.
Mike, given all the changes on offense because of injuries and things, what have you come to learn and appreciate about the job Kellen has done, not only on game day, maybe adjusting on the fly, but also in putting together the plan for a week, considering just how young he is in that role?
It's definitely been a challenge for him, but I think if you know Kellen as I've gotten to know him here this past year, he's very consistent in how he approaches the job. He's the same he's the same mindset, and his emotional level is very consistent each and every day. I think it's important in a leadership role. So he doesn't get flustered very much, and I think that definitely applies very well to these types of situations. So I think the offense, what we came out of training camp with is definitely different than how we're playing now, and I think that's a real credit to him and the offensive staff.
And how have you evolved during the course of this season of not calling plays for the first time in a long time, and you having input and effect on game day and getting things that you want? How have you kind of managed that road this year, coming back after a year away?
Well, I mean, I have a role, on game day, just like everybody else. I mean, there's things that I pay close attention to, and you don't want to stray away from that. So the decision to call plays or install the offense, that was made a long time ago, and really I just focus on the game management and just I follow the game, offense, defense, and special teams from a game plan and play call perspective, and anytime I can add to a situation is really one of my responsibilities. But just the the mechanics and all the other things that go into a game from a head coach perspective, that's my focus, and I'm comfortable in my new role.
Mike, we talked a lot about the offensive line and obviously the health issues. You had to move guys around. How would you assess how they played yesterday? Looking as if they gave any clean pocket at times.
I'm sorry, we have a bad connection. I heard. Did you say offense or defensive line?
I'm sorry, offensive line. Yeah, your offensive line. How would you assess how they performed yesterday?
I thought the offensive line did some really good things. I mean, we struggled running the football. Had some issues on the backside, but was probably our biggest issue in our run game. But I think we had 2 sacks. So we only had to play. We only had the ball for 50 plays. It's a real credit to our defense with the 3 takeaways. But I think the most important part of our victory yesterday, from an offensive perspective, is we kicked at the end of every possession. So we had 0 giveaways, and with that, obviously the defense had the 3 takeaways, but I thought our offensive line gave us a chance to stay in the run pass mix, which was important, especially coming off of those 3 takeaways.
I know Andy's played pretty well for you the last couple of weeks. Is there any thought of maybe giving Gilbert another shot down the line, or will you stick with Andy all the way through?
We're building a game plan to beat the 49ers, and that's really our focus, and Andy will be our quarterback.
You guys were in, as a defense, nickel personnel for the vast majority of the game, with just the way that the Bengals use their 3 wideouts. How do you feel overall that you guys did from general where you are today in that grouping? Is that something of a defense? And also, as a nickel corner, do you feel like Jordan Lewis has kind of come on of late?
I think Jordan's played very well the last 2 weeks, especially. Your question about the nickel defense, you were going in and out. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me about the nickel defense, what the question is.
That's fine. If you want, just focus on Jordan. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on him.
So I think he's done a really good job. I mean, he's definitely, with his play style and his skill set, his ability to challenge from that spot, as far as pressure, and I think, like I said, I think really the last 2 weeks have been probably some of his best football of the year.
And similarly, Tyrone Crawford obviously was able to get to the quarterback a couple times, but what have you seen from him over the course of this entire season, and how was it just to see him have the success that he had?
Well, I think everybody roots for Tyrone just because of just the type of guy he is, the leader that he is, and those were big time plays, and I thought we had a really healthy rotation on the defensive line. So I think he was 30 plus plays, and but he's an impact. He's a multiple technique player. He can play all the way from a 7-9 all the way down to a 3. So you're obviously happy when you see guys like Ty have success.
All right, I think we're done for today. Appreciate your time, Coach.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.